Well, usually I make some kind of an art video for Sundays, but I had a tree come down this week and it hit the beehive, and luckily the beehive really didn't get very much damage. But I had to spend the day cleaning up the tree and giving the beehive a little attention, so I decided to make a video about that. So on Tuesday, the locust tree here behind the beehive was struck by lightning, and the beehive did get hit with a few branches, and it sustained a little bit of damage. Fortunately, really nothing too bad. It's mostly aesthetic. I'll show you, there's just a little dent on the roof, but there's branches everywhere around here now, and I'll need to clean those up. But I'm not going to take down this main part of the tree because some people call these types of trees widow makers. It could be like a dead tree, or in this case a tree that's been struck by lightning. And you've got a lot of branches that are up high, and when you're working at the base, those branches can fall and kill you or break your back. So it's just not worth it. I'll have my friend come by with a bucket truck and we'll deal with that in a much safer way. But I am going to go and get rid of these, and what I like to do when I'm cleaning up a downed tree like this is work from the outside in. I'll cut a little bit, clear it out, and then work a little bit more. I don't want to be tight in all of these branches with the saw, because that can be dangerous too, because then you could fall on the saw. So we'll clean this up and then we'll take a look at the hive. Well, I can't fit any more of the tree in my truck, so I'm going to take a break from the tree work and move on to the beehive. And I'm adding a few more top bars, and I've changed the design a little bit. That's the heater over here, and I'll show you that in a minute. But I've changed the design. Basically, I'm putting a groove in the top bar, and then I'm taking a tongue and placing it in the groove and then shaping it to a point with the hand plane. I used the table saw to cut a groove into the bar, and now I'll add a little glue and hammer in this tongue. I've measured in 2 3/4 of an inch, and next I'll cut the tongue off at the end here, flush with the top bar. The bees like to build their comb off of a point. So next I'll take the hand plane and take a little bit off of each side of the tongue, creating a point. It's easier for the bees to build their comb if they've got some beeswax to build off of. So I've made this trough here. It's filled with molten beeswax, and I'll dip the bars into it. Okay, let's go take a look at the hive and add these bars. So this is really the only damage that was done by the tree. The board inside's a little bit cracked, but it's watertight and I think it'll be fine. I wanted to point out one of the main mistakes that I made, and that is that all of these bars should be 1.25 inches. But I had read somewhere that when they start to make honey, the bars should be a little heavier, 1.5 inches. So I made from bar 13 all the way over all 1.5 inches, but as soon as the comb got to these 1.5 inches, I started to have all kinds of problems with cross comb. So I took the bar 17 to 21 out and ripped them down to 1.25 inches, and these ones I'm just going to have to deal with. The new bars that I add will be 1.25 inches. I'm trying to make a little more room in the hive for these bars. So I cut my feeder jar, the piece of plywood that holds the feeder jar, down, and the plan is to move this follower board over about 1.5 to 2 inches, and then move the whole hive down and then add these bars at the end. This is where the brood nest starts, right on this bar here. So I'm going to try to move this over maybe 2 bars at a time and see how that goes. I was trying to move the bars over 2 or 3 at a time, but I'm not having any luck with it. And the trick really here is to, when you put the bar next to the next bar, you kind of have to just gently push the bar up and down, and the bees will usually find their way out and not get squished. You see, the problem I'm having is I'm getting a lot of cross comb where the comb breaks off. They're building it into the next one. It was mostly in those wider bars, but my plan now is to add the new bars in the hive and then just not touch it. These are the new bars that I'm adding, and it looks like I'm only going to be able to get 3 of them in here. This is some of the cone that broke off, and I'll brush the bees off, and this is really sweet. The kids love to eat it. They don't eat the wax, they chew on it and then they spit the wax out. We have some wild raspberries growing around here, and I think since I put the beehive in, the raspberries have really taken off, and Walter's been out here picking the raspberries as I've been working on the hive, and I just thought that's kind of a nice color on top of this top bar here. Well, it never seems to go smooth for me when I go to work on the hive. I end up with beeswax, which I know that was really one of the main reasons why I became interested in keeping bees, is beeswax, because beeswax is the main ingredient in caustic medium, which is something I like to work with. But I go out there and the wax falls off the bar, or the wax is stuck to the side of the hive and I don't realize it and it rips off, or the bees have built it into another bar. So I don't know. I think that I'm just going to leave the whole hive alone for the next 4 to 6 weeks, not open it up at all, and hopefully by the end of the summer there'll just be 3 or 4 solid bars of honey, which would be great. But at this point I really don't expect it, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, so I'm not too worried about it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon.